obviously IHG. The reason that I'm calling from Atlanta is because IHG is headquartered in Atlanta, so they just reached out worried about how many times and what's going on. And if situations like where words like harassment are thrown out, I try to talk to the other party because I don't know all the facts and I don't know I know one side of kind of a small story right now. So definitely want to reach out to you and give you a chance to like kind of talk through this.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry if they think I'm harassing them, but I'm not.
Okay. My understanding is you've been rather persistent. Can you kind of tell me what's going on?
Thank you. I was going to ask you. Yes, for the last 7 years, I have been targeted by GoDaddy and their hackers. Hackers Chris Ishmael, Ross Weber. I have multiple reports to the FBI. I've tried to get the FBI here in West Michigan to help me. Even yesterday, I communicated with the Michigan Attorney General and our prosecutor, who all know what I'm going through. The Michigan Attorney General's office has sent Expedia letters to 2 of them, but they have all said you have to get in touch with the FBI. And I've had a product security case with Apple product security, and they have record of what's going on with me, and they've communicated with the FBI just one time for me, and they said you have to do it on your own. I've tried. So I can give you that product security case when I pull it up on my computer. But
one second. When you say product security, do you mean your phone? You're worried about your phone being hacked?
No. It is, but no, that's not what we're talking about. My computers. But they installed a virtual VPN on them, and they've tunneled me through with a product called Tornado VPS. But here's the reason why I'm telling you I've been going through it for a long time. But over the last month, my experience over 7 years has led to this, and I'm going to give you some evidence that I want to send you, if you don't mind. I got to pull up your email. I just fired up my computer. But I'm going to send you evidence, and this is the foundation of what we're going to talk about. I've been trying to get you guys to call me for a long time. Let me give you the preface of the underlying issue. The new domain extensions came out in 2013, 14, and I found out about it in 2015, and I registered over 5,000 of domains like wallstreet.finance, cars.flights.
So you were domain sitting?
I tried to start a travel company with hotel.beer, cars.
You were domain squatting 5,000 domains. You can't start a business. You can't start 5,000 businesses. Nobody could do
that. Mr. Fowler, I started a business called cyber.lease, and I was going to do what GoDaddy does, but I was going to lease domains. But I focused also on building a travel business, and I can send you the website photograph. I have video of my websites.
That's okay. I mean, I have an idea. Go on. I don't want to. I was trying to hear you out. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay, good. Let me get right to. Let's get to IHG and the travel companies. And what I started to notice is, did you see the video link that I sent IHG?
No. They didn't send me. They just told me that you've repeatedly reached out to them in a way that they felt was a little threatening. So they wanted to try to. I don't have any of the emails or calls that you've made to them.
Okay. Okay. So we're starting from scratch. Okay. Good. Can you record this call, by the way, please? Because there's a lot of details, and I hope I can have you on the phone for a while.
No.
Okay.
And no.
Okay.
So I'm not going to record right now because this is just the initial assessment, kind of figure out what's going on, and I can't talk forever.
Okay.
I'm willing to hear you out up to a certain point, but
okay.
I need it kind of summarized so that I can figure out if we need to set up a call for further down the road.
Excellent.
I'm happy to do that if it works out, but I need to get kind of an idea of what's going on first.
Yes.
And hopefully the Cliff Notes version, if you understand what I'm saying.
I know, and that's the hardest thing is try to get 7 years in. a few minutes. So I'm going to pull up an email. I'm going to send you some DNS reports, and I'm going to send you one on IHG. And do you have the ability to get on a website called securitytrails.com?
I mean, I have no idea. I'm not going to test that right now, but
Okay.
probably. I can probably get to any website if I need to.
Okay. You could use my.
Tell me the issue. Tell me what the actual issue is.
The actual issue is that on a very large scale, GoDaddy, Expedia Group, Booking Holdings Inc. are putting overlays on websites, including IHGs. And the overlays lay on top their website. And so if for example, IHG's IT department runs a virus scan on their websites, it's clean. But their virus scans are not scanning the overlay. And the overlay is what redirects the traffic off of their website onto a lookalike website that looks like IHG, that looks like Marriott.com, that looks like AmericanAirlines.com or United Airlines. And they all have all of them have one thing in common. The DNS redirects to a name server a1-67.akm.net. And so let me show you proof. And so I'm going to hit reply here.
What's the problem with this? If what you're saying is happening, it's redirecting you from an IHG site to a third-party site.
Yes. And so, okay, here's the problem. Here's the problem.
Because what you're describing is like advertising frames. They have iframes that are built into websites where you can input like advertising tokens, so different ads can go up that aren't controlled by the hoster. But an actual overlay where it redirects, that's a kind of a different thing.
Yes.
So how does IHG's website impact you?
Right. So my domain and website at one point, cars.flights, was redirecting to the same name server, a1-67.akm.net. And that is what the virus scans don't pick up. And so,
well, it's not a virus. Depending on the name server, that's how what are you using to host your website?
Why?
Amazon, AWS. What is the
right.
hoster for
name.com. I have two websites, mask.care and suit.style. Now, I just sent a link yesterday. The Kent County prosecutor and I think the Michigan Attorney General did the same thing, sent that link, and I'm getting ready to fill out I have been working on it for a week now, a very detailed IC3G. I've got multiple complaints to the FBI on IC3G. They know what I'm going through, but you're the first person ever to get in touch with me, except for I've met with the FBI for 5 agents here in the Rockford. I live in Rockford.
Michigan.
Yes. And they filmed me. They interviewed me in the Michigan State Police Office in 2019. And I showed them the redirect then of one example. And they said I had a civil lawsuit with GoDaddy. And I said, no, this is bigger than that. And but I didn't understand it in 2019. Like I say, I knew the letters A and B and Y and Z. I didn't know how to get to there. But now I know 20 letters. And all you, Mr. Fowler, all you have to do is look at what is the IP address of IHG. And you ask me, why do I care about IHG? I don't. I don't. But what I do care is I need help. And I've been asking them to help me for a long time. And
why should IHG help you though?
No, not you, not IHG. But I'm saying yes. And so
why IHG then? Why?
Because
here's the thing. Let me just explain something to you.
Yes.
The FBI agents in Michigan, that's your local field office that's going to cover if anything that you were a victim of, if you were a victim of. The local field offices who ultimately would handle this. I'm involved because IHG felt that they've received so many communications that it was a bit threatening. So I'm just trying to get to the bottom of what the threat is and what your particular issue is with IHG, and hoping to smooth that out if we can. Because IHG is located here in Atlanta area.
Right.
So like I'm covering a report that we received in Atlanta from IHG, where the Michigan agents are going to have to fully listen if they want to, or whatever they determine that you can have is ultimately going to be your full case. So for my purposes, I'm kind of focusing on what your particular issue is with IHG and hoping to resolve that. But I understand that you have a lot of concerns, and I appreciate that, and I can totally understand that you are going through a lot of things. But so far, what you're telling me does sound like a civil lawsuit. So the agents that said that in 2019, I don't think are far off. But I'm willing to hear you out a little longer.
Thank you.
I'm just trying to get to the summary of things so
Thank
that
you.
I can understand.
Thank you. Okay, so I need 1 second. Hold on.
But keep me focused a little bit on IHG and let me know what your particular issue is with them, because I still don't quite understand that.
All right. So I just sent you an email. And
I can't promise I can open it depending on what you put in.
It's a PDF. It's a PDF.
Yeah, we'll see. It has to make it through my virus, but we'll see.
Okay. I hope it does. And so the reason I focused on IHG is because they're one of the worst in regards to the same hack I'm going through. Because I thought if I can't get help because of what I'm going through, I know what they're doing is on a massive scale. And what?
So you think IHG is a victim?
Yes, they are a victim.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
They are. I sent you Marriott, IH. It says ING. I don't know why it keeps saying.
Yeah.
And
no,
then,
it's okay. So
and then.
Hold on, sir, if I may, just really quick. So if I may understand, you're reaching out to IHG because you're afraid that you think they're a victim of the same thing. So you think if they make a case, it would help your case.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Okay. So
that is it.
Between the lines properly.
That's exactly what I'm doing. And so.
Okay.
Right. And so.
Let me. I want to hear you more, but let me just insert something really quick.
Yes.
I need you to stop the IHG thing.
I'll do it. Hey, listen, I even told him, I talked to their IT department for almost an hour, and I said,
goal.
I
understand, but hear me out really quick, sir, if you don't mind. If they are a victim of this, of whatever's happening, they have to determine that, and they have to report it to us separately.
Excellent. My goal is accomplished right now. You call me.
Yeah. So no, I'm willing to hear you out, but I'm going to ask you at the end of this to no longer contact.
I will no longer My goal has been I have chills. I had goosebumps when I saw your email. I said, finally.
Okay.
Finally. That's all I wanted to do. Okay.
Okay. Well, go on then. Let me hear you out.
Okay. Excellent.
I promised I would.
Thank you. Okay. Did you get your email?
I got an email. Concerns with IHG.
Okay.
It's still being scanned though, so I don't have the attachment yet.
Okay, so when you look up their IP address, which I can look it up right now.
That's okay. I understand what you're saying. Okay. IHG's IP, which would probably have multiple servers all over, depending on what you're hitting. But yeah.
Yes, but the reports that I'm sending you are the redirect reports. What their website is redirecting to. And Marriott.com, Hyatt.com, AmericanAirlines.com uniquely have the same redirects. And they're all going to Alpha GoDaddy. And Alpha GoDaddy is cache parking. Actually, the A1-67.akm.net is Alpha GoDaddy, and that's GoDaddy cache parking. And it's from there that my domain, cars.flights, was going to. And if you see, if I'm gonna beg you to watch my video that I sent to the FBI, and it shows how the overlay is corrupted. It's what GoDaddy's hacker. His name's Chris Ishmael, and he is from Brisbane, Australia. And I've met him. I've worked with him for 3 months, and then I realized he was defrauding me. And then from there, and that was in 2008. That's what got me in front of the FBI. And my website go.vi was redirected right to Ross Weber. And Mr. Fowler, this is a big case, and I'm just grateful that you have called me. And so this is going on a massive scale. I'm going to send you Alpha GoDaddy and then GoDaddy Cache Parking. It's the JPEG that I'm sending you GoDaddy Cache Parking, but I'm also going to send you the redirect analysis too.
Hold on. Before you start sending me a whole bunch of emails, I don't want to have to
yes.
dump them quick. I'm looking at the one you sent me, but
let's pull up IHG.
So remember, I'm representing in some ways the victim that's in my AOR, or the person, the reporter, I should say. Can't even say anybody's a victim right now.
Right.
The reporter in my area of responsibility. Michigan's ultimately going to have to hear your full case if they choose to.
Yes.
But I'm willing to hear you out for a little bit, but don't send me too much. Just explain it to me again. Cliff notes.
I'm so excited you're calling me. By the way, I am. IHG.
Well, I'm looking at your thing. I see I'm only opening the IHG.
Let's pull up IHG. Let's pull up IHG. And so click on the number 12, or you can go all the way down to number 12. You don't have to click on number 12, but it will default you down to number 12. Or it sometimes goes to 17. You have to go up to number 12. And I can't. That's okay. We can just scroll down. It's big because there's a lot of redirects in it. And
yeah, but this is common. This is how the internet works.
I know how it works. But let's go to number 12.
Yeah, well, there's like a whole big part in
it. Right. Yes. That's called a route climb. And that route climb goes all the way down to the bottom where he's I might pull it up here too.
Okay, I'm at 12.
Okay. And so you'll see that it ends up.
You're finding all the different name servers. Those are common. They have to load balance. They have to spread it. This is all something that happens, and Akamai does it.
Mm-hmm. And you'll see.
So far, I'm seeing normal activity.
Okay. But at the bottom, at the number 11 through 26, they all go.
6 of 12.
Yeah, 11 through 26 down in item number 12, section 12.
Okay. Yep. I'm scrolling down now. 7, 8, 9. Hold on. 10, 11. Okay. 11, 12 through 26.
Yeah. And then those on the left, which are IHG's name servers, Akamai, are pointed at A1-67. And so is cars.flight. It's my domain. And it's being maliciously used. And the link that I show how this works in my website that I just sent yesterday to the FBI shows how this works. And I have it in real time how it's the redirects working. But I use it suit.style as an example. And so let's go back up to number 1.
This is all normal, by the way.
Yeah, it is. It does have redirects like that. Let's go back up to number 1.
Of 12?
No, at the very beginning where there's an X, I think.
The very number 1 of the whole document?
Yes.
All right. Where it just says IP addresses? Sure.
Yes. That's not IHG's IP address. 88.221.221.82. That's not. Now,
number 1 is 104, 108, 19133. And you have ing.com.
I got another one that I can correct it. I know that was an error. I sent it. I do have the other updated one. I'll send it to you right now if you want it.
But yeah, which IP on the So I'm looking at the first page. I don't see the IP you just said.
88 dot at the number one where there's probably an X, and it says 88.221.
No, you're talking about the whole document, the first page of the whole document.
First page of the whole document.
With IHG. The very first IP address you have listed is 104.108.19133 in Germany.
I just sent you the updated one from that's my spell checker does that all the time on IHG. It turns it into an in.
So, but if I'm going back to your concern, you're saying that all this is happening to your website as well. So you want IHG to figure it out, so that
no, I don't want IHG to figure it out. Yeah, I want them to figure it out on their end too. That it's happening to them too. But the document that I just
really their concern.
I know it is, but look at the new document I just sent you where
I can't. It's not in yet. I don't have it yet.
Okay, it's really.
It's gonna take a minute because it's got to scan it too.
Okay, it says 88.221.221.82.
Okay.
And that's Akamai Technologies, which is in Germany.
Yep.
And the edge key CNAME is malicious down below. When you get to that new one, I'll wait until you get there.
Yeah, I still haven't got the email yet.
Okay.
Oh, wait, there it goes. And then it's scanning the attachment right now.
Okay, excellent.
Well, it'll take a minute to scan the attachment.
Okay, no worries. But what's unique is that there are many websites that have 88.221.221, but the last number is different. But those are not,
sure.
They're not the IP addresses that are on their server. This is the IP address on the overlay.
Yeah, those are name servers by Akamai that helps distribute the load. Name server IPs are different than the IP of the site. That's common.
This is the you have to watch my video where it's a red screen. Chrome and Safari say, okay, you're a malicious website, but Jeep.com, AA.com, United.com, Yum.com, they all have this unique A record, although the last digit is off a little bit. But what's extremely unique is that they all end up at A1-67.akm, the same place, which is GoDaddy Cache Parking. So here, you ask in the beginning, why is this a problem? I'm going to share with you two case examples. One of them, I know it's my friend. I have two friends. One's in Jacksonville, Florida, and one is in Northern Michigan. And they called me and said, Sean, and one of them filed a case with IHG. And their crown plan. He's on the road all the time. He's 2 nights a week, and that's all he stays at IHG properties. And this is what happened. And this is why I called IHG, and this is what caused me to research their website. He booked 2 nights, one on a Tuesday night, one on a Thursday night at IHG properties, one in Southern Michigan, the other in Detroit, which is on the other side of the state, Southern Michigan. And the first night he stayed, he went down to get a receipt the next morning, and they said, you have to get your receipt from the third-party booker. And he said, no, I booked this at IHG. And he said, and the front desk professional said, you booked it at booking.com. No, I didn't. It was IHG. And so they gave him a receipt, but that's not who he booked it from. And then that same incident happened on a Thursday. And I'm going to send you two documents that proves what happened there. with IHG.
Hold on. Don't send me any more documents. I need to hear you out first.
Okay, great.
Stop. No more documents. No more emails for a minute.
Excellent. Thank you. So that happened both Tuesday and a Thursday, and he reported it. And that was about 6 months ago. There was a case filed with IHG, and they backed it up. They backed it up that he had booked from Booking.com, but he didn't. He booked from, and so then recently, and this is what caused me to call IHG. Well, I called him back then too, but I never got a call from George Turner, their high IT guy. They're a highest level. And so, and I gave him the case number, and I gave him analysis of what I'm showing you. I told him what had happened. And then a friend of mine from Jacksonville, Florida, I sell custom clothes for a living. He had the same, not exactly the same, but a similar event. And I have the script that I believe that this...
Right, okay, let me stop you there. You have two friends that think they got redirected when they booked something. Mm-hmm. One, the booking still went through. Two, that's up to your friends to report it, not you.
I agree.
But
he did report it.
Yeah, and that's fine, and that can go through its normal course. But I need you to stop championing other people, because the repeated contacts with IHG is coming across as something that's a little bit more nefarious.
I know. I'm sorry. I won't contact them again. Hey, listen, this is all I wanted to do is have you call me.
No, I understand. What you're describing is stuff that does happen, and depending on what link they clicked when they went to IHG, depending on what they did, there's a number of ways that like, if they went to something they thought was IHG, but it was actually just Booking.com. But the hotel room was still booked, and they still got it.
Right.
So there's not really a loss there.
It's not a loss for my friends. No. What's happening is that the customer, let's think of a grand scale, a macro scale. The customer went to IHG, thought he was on IHG, hit the button to book his hotel, went through the process of booking his room at IHG, but only to find out that when he checked out, it was booked at Booking.com. So here's the damage. On a random, I have the script that this happens with, by the way. I have the script.
What's the damage?
The damage is that IHG had a customer on their site that was ready to book a room, but was redirected off, and that reservation was booked through Booking.com, and then Booking.com sent the reservation back to IHG, which IHG now has to pay a commission to Booking.com for a reservation they never had to pay for in the first place.
No, that's not really a victim. So that's a common thing, and Booking.com is a site that. So I don't know if you know this, but the way the hotel industry works is most of them work through some kind of thing like that. Because, for example, IHG is the corporate entity of Intercontinental Hotels Group. They don't own every hotel. Some of them are privately owned and they're part of the IHG system, but they're not part of the corporate owned hotels. So they lease out the names like Holiday Inn Express, things like that, and people get to use the names, and it gets to be part of an IHG system without actually being corporate owned. So some people do own the hotels like in small groups or privately or whatever it is. So oftentimes those bookings go through Booking.com, but IHG still makes the money off that. A commission for Booking.com is built into the regular process. If it did get redirected, if what you're saying is it did happen, there's still not really a victimization there. Especially because like IHG doesn't own every hotel that gets booked. It's under their network.
Right.
So sometimes if you booked a hotel that's not corporate owned, maybe it has to go through a third party to be booked because it's owned by another person. Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of the way the structure works and the affiliate structure of the hotel kind of booking system. But I mean, I understand your concerns, and I understand where you're coming from. But even if all this is happening, and even if they were taking a loss, that's up to IHG to report to me. And I promise they have an entire team that has my direct contact and has had it for years and could reach me at any time if they felt like this was a major issue for them. And they don't. So to be quite frank, sir, it's not really your place to report for them when they could do it if they wanted to.
I totally understand all that.
That makes sense?
Yes. Yes, it does. It does.
Okay.
Uh,
I mean, feel free to file the IC3 complaint, and it'll go to Michigan, and they can review it, and whatever you submit, does eventually get reviewed. But as far as any case that you try to make, the Michigan field office would have to handle that. I just want to make sure that there's no further
I'm not going to contact him again. I promise. Promise. But I promise.
Go ahead. You were going to say something?
Yes. Will you look at one more email, please?
Just describe it to
me. Okay. Well, it's gone now, by the way. I've gone through the IHG website and it has been removed. But there was
what has been removed?
The kayak redirects in the why. It's the only one I found, by the way. It was in Candlewood Suites reservation. You could see the URL. It's ihg.com/Candlewood Suites. And
so the redirects to other booking sites.
It's a redirect to kayak.com.
Yeah, that's okay. All right. So what was the other thing you wanted to send? And just describe it to me.
It's specifically has kayak in an index file that is in their website. It's in the overlay. It's not in the website. It's in the overlay.
Yeah, no, and that's a common thing. So let me just stop you though. Again, that's a concern for IHG, and if they feel like there's a victimization there, they could report directly to me.
Right.
They have an entire team of folks that look into this kind of stuff, and my understanding is they did look into your concerns and didn't feel that they were substantiated. So they specifically looked into the things you brought up, and I know for a fact they did, and they didn't feel like it was a problem for their normal course of business. It did not report like a victimization of defrauding the website or whatever to me.
Okay.
So I need you to let them worry about that.
I told you I'm not going to call them again. Promise.
Fair.
No. My goal has been accomplished.
No emails, no calls, right?
My goal is accomplished. My goal has been accomplished. I got to talk to you. That's all I wanted to do. But what's going on in IHG's website's going on in multiple websites.
Yeah, but I would say the same for any big corporation. Let them decide. If you send an email and you just want to be nice and tell them that there may be a problem, they can look at it if they choose to. But it's up to that company. Now, if you have something personal that's affected and you feel like your personal websites have been impacted by this, that's something you can report if you want to. Your cases against GoDaddy, I would probably argue, are probably civil. Now, if there's some kind of other thing that's stealing monetization from you,
it is. It's been
monetization on your websites, then that's a separate issue that you would have to file and that you could file if there was some validity to it. But all these big corporations, they're not going to help you with your case. They're just not.
Oh, I know that. I just thought.
So if you're doing the same thing to other corporations,
no, I'm not. IHG was one.
Don't do it.
Yeah, right. I only did it to IHG.
It's coming across as harassment, and we just don't want that to happen. We don't want any misunderstanding where you're just trying to do something what you feel is the right thing and being good and trying to warn people and then trying to help, for your case. But it comes across as kind of repeated and persistent harassment.
I understand.
We don't want that to happen, right?
Right. Well, I'm on the same.
You sound like a nice guy. I don't want you to be in trouble for anything that's just a misunderstanding. I don't want to have any future misunderstandings with stuff.
We're not going to have talk about this again. I promise.
Sounds good.
Well, I know, but let's leave IHG out of it. But this going on a massive scale, and the player is Chris Ishmael in Australia. He's GoDaddy's.
Yeah, but that's, it's really up to those companies. Marriott can decide how they want to approach that. IHG can too. I understand, and I admire your energy and your wanting to get to the root of things, but.
Well, I'm being targeted by him. I've caught him in my computer. It's been awful. They delete They've ruined 7 computers by changing the permissions and whatever, and changing the permissions, and I can't get back in. They're like, and Apple says you have a paperweight. I know, and so they're in everything. They're tunneled into me, and because I know what's the big picture is, it's just taken me a long time to get to it, and it's a, I know I'm going to send this link and explain how they're doing it to the FBI, but the link that shows how my websites are being attacked.
Feel free to put it in the IC3 complaint.
Yeah, and that's how they're being attacked. And I thought if I had a bigger company that had a
yeah, it just doesn't work that way, really. Yeah. Each kind of victim would have its own thing.
Yes.
And if you uncovered something and you let a company know, it's up to them if they want to pursue that.
Yes. Well, that was the goal. That was the goal.
Letting them know and then constantly kind of harassing them is not the best course.
Well, I know. I sent him three emails.
I will say, sir, you've got their attention, and they did look into it. They just didn't feel it was an issue.
Okay.
But they did look into it, and their biggest concern is they just don't want it's concern for safety of their employees, for safety of their facility. They don't want you to like get upset with them and do anything kind of crazy.
Oh my gosh, I'm not.
And I don't think you're going to. I don't think you're going. You sound like a nice guy. I think we're all good.
Yes. Yeah, thank you.
But
thank you.
I just need to make sure.
Right.
Make myself too.
Yes. Yeah. Oh no, we're fine. But hey, but it is odd. If you were to look at IHG, Marriott, and what was the other company, and Alpha GoDaddy and Hyatt, if you just out of our, you could do it now, or I could. I would like to ask you, don't you? Isn't that odd that they're all going to the same server, GoDaddy Cache Parking? Isn't that odd? I mean, the exact same one, and they have this redirect that's going to Akamai Technologies and not Akamai. You have to say.
I mean, that's not weird. That's common.
Well, but
Akamai
I can.
is a major backbone provider that provides the like when I asked you who's hosting your websites, you know, Akamai or Amazon AWS, things like that, or Google, depending on the servers the service you use has a back end that hosts the website.
Right, I know.
So because of the size of their websites, Akamai, who's a major backbone provider, hosts the website. And then they have to have different name servers and different, not one server can handle all the traffic. So it's all
right
the way that the internet works.
But if you were to go onto, like, for example, security trails that would identify the servers that they're hosted on, the A1-67 is not listed on the servers that these DNS tests run. The ones.
Yeah, because what you're getting from a DNS record is the main IP address for the site and not the load balancers and not the name servers. The name server IPs are different than the main server that is like the official response comes from. So the IP range of that would be different than what you're seeing, which is like a drilled down extra step. You're seeing the different load balancing name servers and things like that. They're able to host and kind of as questions and as connections come in, it routes it to the whatever load balancer needs to go through. It responds back with whatever the person's looking for, goes back through the load balancers, then goes through like an IP address that's within the range that would be external, and then hits the victim or not the victim, the person back with whatever they're looking for. If that makes sense. So it's an extra step. What you see, what would be the normal DNS record would be the last step in the chain of IP address and network traffic. But it lists all the name servers and all the different subservers that host, the path along the way. If you've ever done trace routes, the trace routing can show you like every hop it hits.
Yes. Yes.
Well, listen. Feel free. I mean, file that IC3 if you feel like you've been a victim of something, for sure. But I can't promise. What you're telling me is not necessarily something that seems outrageous to me. I haven't lived with it like you have. So it's different, but also again, like I explained, I'm coming from Atlanta, and I want to make sure that the harassment issue is kind of put to bed.
Oh my!
Now, your online redirect issue is something that you can take up with the Michigan field office.
Yes.
But with that said, if they don't deem it to be credible, that's their choice, and that's kind of how things go. Because again, you're trying to report a victimization on behalf of another company that you don't work for.
I agree. I knew it was a long shot. I knew it was a long shot, but
yeah, I know it's tough. The internet has opened up all kinds of different crazy ways to like impact people, and I'm not saying that you're not dealing with something and it's super frustrating. I understand that because the internet has opened up, that kind of vulnerability for so many people. But at the same time, understanding how the internet works can be a tricky thing.
Yes. Oh, I know. Yeah.
All right. Is it Chalfin?
Chalfin, yes. Right? Hey, perfect. Actually, that's perfect. Well, I get hacked. I hate my last name. So.
No, it's fine. Well, first I thought it was Chafin.
I know. That's what everybody says. I get teased with that. No,
okay.
It's Chalfin. You got it perfect.
I think we have a good understanding. You're not going to reach out to IHG.
I never again will. Thank you, though. My goal has been accomplished. You called me.
Good. I'm so glad.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. But you got to make a record of this, right? You're going to make a record that we talked and, put it in my file? Good. Because there's, I'm telling you, there's something big happening here, and it's okay if IHG doesn't see it. That's fine. But at least we got to talk.
Yeah, I'm going to write up a summary of what we talked about. It'll go in the FBI system.
Excellent.
But it's just going to go to an info file.
That's great.
And, you know what I mean? That's it for now.
That's perfect. Hey, you know what? I accomplished my goal.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Chalfin. Take care.
Hey, pleasure.
Maybe unplug every now and then. Don't worry too much about the internet all the time.
Well, everyone says that. Maybe you should walk away from the internet. I can't. Everything's attached to it. Everything I do. Everything.
No, I just mean take some breaks.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We could all get up and use a walk sometimes. I gotta unplug sometimes myself.
Are you the cybercrimes guy, or are you a?
I am a cybercrime guy.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Well, then explain one last thing to me. Again, you already have, but I want to hear it one more time. So why would those DNS? Jeep.com, WM.com, AmericanAirlines.com. Why would they all end at A1-67.AK? You did give me a good load, but just say it one more time. I've never been taught. Hey, listen, I sell custom clothes for a living, but I did want to build a travel company, and I got smoked by Expedia and Kayak. And
oh yeah, they're gonna dominate. Yeah.
No, they came after me. They came after me. They're still coming after me, but that's okay. I'm not trying to get you to. I have wanted you to help me, but that's okay. But tell me why these, including my website, cars.flights, redirects right to A1, running these DNS tests, the one I showed you. Marriott's does, AA does, which is American Airlines, United's does. They all have that unique 88.221.221. Whatever at the end. They're not the same at the end. But so does Jeep. And there is, I just wished I could have your brain for 4 more minutes. 4 more minutes.
Your website's being hosted somewhere. You have to host it with somebody, like some kind of
It's at Bluehost.
Is it Bluehost or
Bluehost.
GoDaddy or whatever?
Well, I have
GoDaddy's typically you just register the domains with GoDaddy. They're not always hosting.
Yeah, I know. My domain, the domain is hosted at Network Solution. The A record is pointed at Bluehost.
Yeah, so that's common.
Right.
The hoster uses different server infrastructure to actually like host your website within certain like the server that's hosting your website is probably a virtual server, and it probably has so many resources allocated to it, and you just have X amount of like RAM and whatever, and that it can handle so much. And so, like now, that's why, like, if you have a smaller website, if you get hit with too much internet traffic, you can be DDoS because the amount of people that would go to your site.
Yes.
Now, large companies have relationships with people like Akamai and other big hosters where they can handle that kind of traffic. Like Google can handle like basically unlimited traffic because they have so many servers that they could balance the load with, and so many resources to throw at it. Where if you're a small-time person who's just kind of hosting a site with a basic website hoster, you're not going to necessarily have those same resources. So, but you're still going to have some kind of load balanced hops along the way.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
So hang in there.
I just want to.
There's a whole bunch of information about how that works.
I know. We're forgetting nothing of what I'm talking to further is going to be about IHG, but I do want to send you just 2 screenshots of something. I want you to explain it to me. Okay? Can you?
Well, hold on. I can't necessarily spend time giving you IT advice and explaining how the internet works.
No, this is a crime. I'm going to tell you this might open your eyes. A little.
If this is a crime, this is a crime in Michigan.
No, this is a crime at GoDaddy, and this is happening on a large scale. And they're perpetuating the crime from the Bahamas at a Confluence Networks. I just want to show it to you. It's just a question. It's just a question. And
okay, but last one.
Last one. Okay, good. Let me pull it up. So let me just 1 second. I discovered, and this answered a lot, and the name servers. I told you we're not going to talk about IHG, but the name servers are the same on a lot of these, and then it stopped immediately because I'm just telling you I'm being monitored by their hackers. And so what I'm going to pull up is called DS redirection. And DS redirection I discovered at Security Trails, and I'm going to find one right here. And so pulling it up here, and it's a super big deal. And I found this on GoDaddy's name servers called DS redirection. And then I found close to 6,900 domains that GoDaddy is doing this to. And I'm pulling them up. And they're redirecting big domains like Disney, like Jeep, like Yum, and out of the Grand Caymans. Well, when I say the Grand Caymans, they were in the Grand Caymans. And they run out of an operation called Confluence Networks. Okay, here's one right here. I'll send this to you. And this one happens to have United Airlines on it. And I'll send that. But it's not going to tell you anything. But I'm just going to show you something that I found was interesting. And
I don't have that email yet.
It's coming. Yeah, it's on its way. There's one. And
this is the last one, though.
How about the last topic?
The last email, the last topic.
Oh my
I gotta go.
Okay, fine. So that's just one screenshot, and the one I sent you has United Okay, there's a big one right there. Now this is a good example because I have the DNS report for United, and it is almost identical to. I told you we weren't going to talk about it, but the one you called me on, but it's identical to Marriott, the one you called me on, Jeep. They're the same, and I could send you that DNS report for United Airlines. It's identical.
So again, that's all up to those companies if that's something they want to look into. That doesn't impact you.
But what's happening to me is happening to them.
Well, and what's happening to you, if you feel like you have evidence of that, you can report through IC3 to the Michigan field office.
Yes.
But the big companies can decide for themselves if they have a problem on their network.
No doubt about it. But what this is.
So like sending me stuff about other big businesses doesn't do any good because those companies are big enough to have their own entire team dedicated to stuff like this and looking for fraud.
But
and so take no offense, one random guy in Michigan is not necessarily gonna change their perspective on it.
Yes, no doubt about it. And plus, when they hear I'm just sold clothes for a living, and so right. So, but what was unique about there were 6,900. Here's a number right here. What was unique about 9,900. There's so many things going on, moving parts, but 9,000. What's unique about the ones I checked is they end up at A1 67.akm.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Okay, so that's what I wanted you to tell me one more time about. Why is that?
It's just all Akamai name servers. They're just all name servers are like there's a whole topic thread about how name servers work if you want to Google it. But it's all about load balancing internet traffic. And no website is at a single IP address or a single server anymore because you couldn't handle the traffic. So like and just the way that it authenticates with like domain registrars and things like that, so that it knows that it's going to the right.
But that sentence you just said there, you just said a sentence.
The right destination.
Right, but you just said that no website is on the same name server. But why are the ones I'm checking on those name servers?
No. I didn't say name servers. I said no website's on a single IP address with a single server.
All right.
The domain could change, but the different load balancers can go through a bunch of different things. So even though you may see a common name server for multiple business, there's multiple name servers for each. Like that's not the only name server that exists for that company.
I agree. Yes. Like
so
Akamai has like 7 of them.
Some that overlap. What all that's telling me is that they all use Akamai to help load balance and host their sites, and that's a normal thing. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do understand it.
So they're using the same backbone provider to help load balance and be able to handle traffic. Because all those companies you list are global companies.
Yes.
And so, being a global company, you have to have enough capability and enough resources on your servers to be able to respond to requests of internet traffic. A request to say is when somebody goes to Jeep.com or United.com or whatever it is, it has to be able to report back a response, as in provide the web page for millions of people all at the same time. No one server, like if you just had a single blade server that like physical hardware server could handle that many requests at once, which is why it has to get distributed. And then there's a whole kind of subsection to that with name servers helping because it authenticates the domain name. And there's if you're familiar with Whois searches and ICANN and all the different registrars for the different regions, they have to make sure websites, like a domain name is like wherever you are in the world, let's say you're in Australia or wherever, when you go to United.com, if you're not going to the Australian version, you want to go to the US version, they all have to go to the same site.
Right.
So no matter where you come from the world, now obviously there's EU versions of sites, there's Australian versions of sites, those are just tends to be localized, but you could still, if you wanted to, go to a .com version, and it's usually the main site, which happens to be, of a U.S. company anyways.
Right.
So I understand your concerns. I'm telling you, most of this is just how complicated internet and web hosting is. And as much as I appreciate your concerns for all these other big companies,
I know.
it's not your place.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
I'm glad we have an understanding, sir.
We do. Can you Google something for me?
Nope. I'm going to go.
I know.
No more Googling. You can Google all you want. But, and again, if you feel like you've been personally victimized, feel free to fill out that IC3 complaint, and Michigan can determine if there's a thing. But what you're describing is not necessarily something that would rise to the level of a criminal investigation.
Excellent. That's fine. I'm done with IHG. I accomplished my goal. You called me.
I want to be honest with you, and I'm not. I don't want to.
Well, I know you are. Well, we both are honest with each other, and so that's not it. I just wanted to talk to you because what's going on. Okay.
Well, happy day. You got to talk to an FBI agent.
Thank you. You got to talk to a citizen.
That's right. So you be good. No more calls to IHG. No more emails to IHG. No more communications to IHG, and we are all good.
We're good. We're good. Thank you. Thank you for calling me. By the way, that was nice.
No problem. You take care and good luck.
Thanks. All right. Bye. Bye. Oh my. Oh my. That's just not gonna happen. They don't know. I gotta get that thing done. Let's get to work. Where is that name? They fucking deleted Mac CD and Cloud. Oh, that's a big deal. My goal is accomplished. Paul Smith, Michael 1. Paul Smith, Michael 1. My God.